And it felt like in a lot of ways that mitigated so much risk and allowed for the success to happen and still enjoy life to some degree as you're growing this thing and not feel that like super huge weight that can come with like, oh, I just took out this huge loan and now I got to deliver. So was that your like idea and thought process behind that, or does that just come naturally?
I think that's a very logical question. I was given tons of advice from many different consultants, professionals, down to just my best friends hanging out. How about this? The way that I was raised from my grandparents and even great grandparents that went through the Depression and grew up during certain years, that's pretty much my family value. Grandma used to tell me, if you can't sleep at night because your rent or your mortgage is paid, then you have an issue. It's better just to pay for it in cash so you can sleep at night. Act your wage, you know? Right. And so these are things where, as much as I'd like to impress you with certain things, there are certain sort of expenses I had, or just my own peace of mind, where I'd rather have either money in a bank and investment. I'd rather own the dirt than potentially give back the building to the bank, even if it takes longer. And how about this, as I mentioned before, about letting it ride? Maybe just the momentum of me and my own cash and my own savings and being conservative was the way. I'm superstitious. Maybe I'm glad I didn't change anything. Could it have taken longer? No. In fact, it could have ended faster. Mind you this, I almost went out of business in 2010. I had all of my eggs in one basket and I lost my largest client. So I went down from like 89 seats down to like 2. And instead of being a one-trick pony, naturally I built my business back again. But I learned a huge lesson, A, not to put all your eggs in one basket, but B, acorns for the winter. I weathered a storm for about 9 months. I was paying my top salaries to my supervisors to keep them on board, the rent, the building. This was before I owned the building. But I figured I could have cut my losses, ended, enjoyed life, or continued to fight for this thing. So those are the sort of moments where you take a walk by yourself, you look in the mirror, you ask yourself that true question: do I quit at 80% or do I go all the way? Are you willing to risk it? It's just money. It's just time. But I wasn't willing to risk my own sort of self-respect. I came this far. I got to keep going. And if having a dip in your business during those dark moments, A, it shows character, but B, it kind of shows resilience. And instead of telling you about all my successes, why don't I tell you about the one time I almost literally got out of business and the fact that Richard didn't quit. And so these are the sort of things, my friend, years later, where I can tell you these sort of stories because it just hasn't all been wine and roses, and you and I make it look easy. But a lot of the entrepreneurs that are starting, David, they don't realize about the dedicated practice, the sacrifices to get your success, the times when the cameras are off, or when you and I are communicating and writing scripts and practicing. So that's what it takes in order for you to be successful. You just can't snap your fingers. It's not going to be handed to you. Each one has to crack that code. And a lot of the times, David, it's with themselves. Do they really have the endurance to do it and to go the distance?
Yeah. Well, I think that, A, your grandma is super wise.